Hello world, this is H.L. Quist. I'm the author of The Aftermath of Greed. Get ready for the coming inflationary boom. Don't click that mouse because you're going to hear something that you haven't heard before. Yes, I'm forecasting an economic boom ahead. You know, all you're hearing is gloom and doom. Foreclosures are up, values are still declining, the stock market is in the toilet. We've got inflation, disinflation, stagflation, whatever inflation you want. But you're not going to hear that from me. There is, in my opinion, a coming inflationary boom. Now, you think I'm nuts, probably. What does this guy know that I don't know or other people know? Well, I have successfully and accurately forecasted the last 5 boom and bust cycles in the United States since 1992. Some people call me a visionary. Some people call me a futurist. One talk show host called me an erudite pundit. I thought that was pretty cool. So I am your erudite pundit. What I'm going to talk to you about here briefly is let's go back and trace some of these boom and bust cycles, starting with 1990. Remember 1990, the Resolution Trust Corporation? The real estate market collapsed a lot like today. It was a commercial market in those days. I was in the development business, my partner and I. We saw this bust coming. In 1988, we decided, boy, we didn't want to develop this huge property, so we sold it at the top of the market. But in 1989, the Congress enacted legislation called FIREA, which basically did not permitted the banks, they could not make any more real estate loans. So our buyer defaulted, and we lost millions. Anyway, that was a defining moment in my life. I had to discover, and I set out to find out what causes these boom and bust cycles. Are they preventable? Are they predictable? How do you protect yourself? My experience, my background, and my research is you can benefit from that today. And you can in my book. In 1998, I saw the commodity markets were at the absolute bottom. Oil was $8.50. Gold was $256 an ounce. Wheat was under $4 a bushel. And I forecasted a boom ahead, and we profited handsomely. 1 year later, I wrote Secrets, my first novel, my first book. It's, on the surface, it was a Gulf story about a young man who finds a secret and he ends up winning the U.S. Open. But there was a bigger story to tell there, one that was about economics and politics and the markets and the manipulation of the markets. My hero forecasted that the stock market, the dot-com bubble, would burst and trillions of dollars would be lost. And of course we know that's what happened. That soon after that it was 9/11. In 2.5 years the NASDAQ lost 75% of its value. So we're in the fall of 2002. Market was a lot like it was today. People were were gloom and doom prevailed all over, and fear prevailed all over the country. And I forecasted a boom ahead. That's when Ben Bernanke, who was then a Fed Reserve Board member, came out in a speech. He said, there'll never be a depression in this country because we can always drop dollars from helicopters. And he got the name Helicopter Ben. I guess that was his qualification to become the Federal Reserve Board chairman when he took over for Greenspan. But in 2002, I forecasted a boom ahead in all asset classes, commodities, real estate, stocks, so forth. And, of course, that happened. I dubbed it the Greenspan Plan. The Greenspan Plan was how could the Federal Reserve, how could they get consumers to spend money? Obviously, appreciated assets, particularly real estate, people borrowed against their equity, they cashed out, and they took the money and they spent it. That's led us to this point in time where we're suffering the aftermath of greed. Greed's a terrible thing. It just clouds all kinds of judgment. In 2005, April of 2005, I wrote a special report. And the name of that report was Downsize Now and Securitize Your Future. For all those folks out there that were, say, 50, 60, 70 years of age, had lived in their homes for maybe 10, 20, 25 years like we did, there was huge equity. And of course we had this massive inflation, 200% and 300% here in Scottsdale and Phoenix. I thought it was a darn good idea for people to consider downsizing. In other words, selling their home, taking their $500,000 of tax-free money, and securitizing their future. You know what? Very few people did. Of course, today, everybody wishes they would have. Why didn't they? They tell me they thought the market was going higher. Greed's a terrible thing. It just clouds our judgment. So here we are today, 2008, and I'm forecasting at the bottom of this market a boom ahead in 2009 and continuing perhaps for another 3 or 4 years. The basis of this is, of course, what you'll discover in reading my book, is that there is a pattern that we've seen here over these boom and bust cycles. Congress comes up and the politicians come up with a short-term fix, gets us on the right track, but sets us up for a bigger problem. And of course, the heart of all of these boom and bust cycles is the Federal Reserve and their monetary policy. Very predictable, very preventable. I can take you back briefly to 1976 to find a period of time in our history that is similar to today. You remember we've been through the oil embargo. The economy came to a screeching halt when OPEC shut off the oil exports to the U.S. Gasoline went from 30 cents a gallon to $1.25. Overnight, the economy came to a screeching halt. But between 76 and 80, we had the highest inflation in this country since the Civil War. We had double-digit inflation, 13%, 78, 79, and 80. And what happened is we had incredible asset inflation. You know, gold went from $100 to $850 an ounce. Real estate appreciated substantially. Commodity prices went through the roof, just like today, right? But in 1980, there was a crack-up boom, and it came to a screeching halt. The markets collapsed. But in that period of time, interest rates rose from 7% long-term fixed to 16%. I was in the development business. My construction loan was 24%. Prime was 21.5%. What people were doing was they were converting their cash, their money, to hard assets. Real estate, gold, fixed, anything that was tangible. That could be very similar to what we're looking going ahead. There's been a paradigm shift. You'll read in my blog. Big, massive change that's going on in Congress. This bailout bill of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. FHA is going to be the lender of last resort. Anyway, it's going to work. Politically, I don't agree with it whatsoever. It's socializing our mortgage industry, and I don't agree with that. But it will work, and you can make money. But beware. 4 or 5 years from now, I believe that we're headed for a crack-up boom. Ludwig von Mises, the Austrian economist, is my hero. And I believe that he's pegged this just right. Anyway, what I want you to do at this point is I want you to go below here, and you'll see where you can purchase my book by going directly to the publisher. Also, I want you to sign up for my blog so we can update. The book was released in April of this year, and I'm going to give you constant updates. Thirdly, what I want you to do is I want you to forward this email to all your friends, your family, and your business associates. They will thank you. This will serve you and them the rest of their lives. I will talk to you again. Thank you very much, and goodbye.